Hi, I'm Shalini Kodespuri, and I want to have an honest conversation with you today about something I've been hearing more and more about from families that I work with. People are asking me, Shalini, can I just use AI to do my estate plan? And I get it, I really do. We're all using these tools now, right? Because they help us write emails, they answer our questions at midnight when we can't sleep, and they're fast. So when a platform pops up and says it can draft your will or your trust in a few minutes, I completely understand why that feels appealing. But I want to talk you through what I have seen as someone who does this work every single day. Because I care too much about you and your family to let you make a decision without having the full picture. You see, when someone comes into my office, we don't start by talking about documents. We start by talking about life. You tell me about your family. You tell me about your children. You tell me about what keeps you up at night. What are you hoping to protect? Because estate planning lives in those answers. It lives in the conversation where a mom tells me she's worried about her son's spending habits, or where a business owner realizes he hasn't really thought about what happens to his employees if something happens to him, or where a grandmother wants to make sure her grandchild with special needs is cared for long after she's gone. You see, those conversations shape everything. The structure of a trust, the language in a power of attorney, who gets named, who doesn't, and why. Every single decision connects to something deeply personal. And that's what makes a plan actually work when your family needs it most. Now, I want to be fair to the technology because I'm not here to scare you away from learning. If you want to sit down with ChatGPT and ask what a revocable trust is, or maybe what's the difference between a will and a trust, go for it. That kind of research can actually help you come into a meeting with me better prepared. And I love that. Where it breaks down is when AI tries to make decisions for you. These tools are pulling from general information. They don't know that you're in a blended family, or that your spouse's children from a prior marriage may have a complicated relationship with you and your spouse. They don't know that you just started a business last year and your partner doesn't have a succession agreement in place. They don't know that your sister, whom you've listed as your power of attorney 5 years ago, isn't someone that you would actually choose today. I sit with families and I ask questions that most people haven't even thought to ask themselves yet. And those questions, the ones that come from experience, from years of walking alongside families through this process, are what separates a plan that actually protects your family from a stack of paper that looks like it does. Here's what I want you to understand. And I say this gently because I've seen what happens when it goes wrong. A document can look perfect. It can be formatted beautifully, signed, notarized, really sitting in a beautiful folder in your filing cabinet. And for you, that feels good. You feel like you've handled it. But then something happens. A spouse passes, a parent becomes incapacitated. And when the family goes to use that plan, they discover that the trust was probably never funded, or the beneficiary designations on the retirement accounts don't match what the will says. The guardianship language for the children doesn't actually hold up under Texas law. And now what? Instead of grieving in peace, your family is in a courtroom. They're spending money on attorneys, not a plan, but really to fix a problem that you have created. They're navigating disputes over things that you really never intended for them to disagree about. I've held the hands of families going through that. And every single time, I think about how different it could have been with the right guidance from the beginning. I also want to talk about something that's especially important for those of you here in Texas. because this comes up constantly in my practice. Estate planning is governed by state law. In Texas, your will, your trust, your directives all have to meet very specific legal requirements to be valid. We're talking about execution formalities, witness requirements, and how the language must be drafted for a court to honor it during probate. I have seen families come to me after a loved one has passed, holding documents that they thought were airtight, and one missing element, one ambiguous sentence, turned what would have been or should have been a smooth process into months of court involvement and expense that nobody anticipated. When you work with an attorney who practices in this area, who understands how Texas courts handle these matters, you're giving your family the kind of preparation that a template or an algorithm simply cannot provide. I became an estate planning attorney because I believe in legacy. I believe that the life you've built, the people that you love, the values that you carry, all of that deserves to be protected with the same care and intention that you've poured into building it. AI can produce a document, but it certainly cannot sit with you and understand what your family means to you. It cannot design a strategy around goals, worries, your hopes for the next generation. And it cannot walk alongside you to make sure that when that moment comes, everything unfolds exactly the way that you want it to. That's what my team and I do every day, and we would be honored to do it for you. So if you're just starting to think about your estate plan, or if you have one sitting in a drawer that you haven't looked at in a while, I'd love for you to come in and sit down with me. I'll leave a link below for scheduling a conversation directly. No pressure, no obligation. Just you and me talking about what matters most to you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Take good care of yourself and the people that you love. I'll see you next time.